and and you're black, so
Okay, hi folks. Welcome to the
Never
Talon podcast. So today we'll be talking about the NBA trade deadline and all the trades that happened, and we'll also talk about so far NFL free agency, and we may touch on a little bit on March Madness if time permits. So let's get started with the NBA. First up, blockbuster news from this past weekend: Andre Drummond, of course, signing with the Los Angeles Lakers over the Boston Celtics. Do you think that he will be able to keep the Lakers pretty high in the West with AD and LeBron out?
No, but give me a sec. I'm trying to finish these almonds.
God. Elliot, what do you think?
Yes.
go ahead, Daniel.
Yes and no. They have a talented enough roster to at least keep it competitive and stay in the top four. But come playoff time, say there's no LeBron, no AD, obviously that won't happen. They're gonna have them back. But say we're in another random world where they're just not healthy. No, it won't help them out. But I think with the Lakers, Suns, maybe the Nuggets, maybe the Spurs. No, not even the Spurs. Those three teams are very good with half-court offenses. They're only really a half-court offense type team. And Drummond is a slow guy. He's good for a half-court offense, so I think he'll help the Lakers. He wouldn't be a fit for a team like the Heat or a team like the Celtics or a team like the Nets. He just wouldn't, because these guys all run and gun, and Drummond is just there for rebounds. I saw experts say he could have 20 points and 20 rebounds and not affect the game in any way. So I'm not that mad. However, according to Evan Massey, I forget the dude's name. Whatever. He's a reporter. He's verified on Twitter. He's legit. Apparently, the Celtics are considering signing DeMarcus Cousins now.
Boogie Cousins.
They want
coming
DeMarcus
to
Cousins.
Boston. That would be very interesting. So
it would be.
Elliot, what's your take on Drummond going to LA?
I think it didn't surprise me at all because he's chasing a ring. He's done with being on mediocre teams. I think it's gonna be interesting though how that all plays out because the Lakers you now have AD and Kuzma and for power forward, and now you're gonna have Gasol and Drummond, and then where does what's his name not Carol
Kuzma?
No,
Montrezl. Oh, Harrell.
Where does Harrell fit into that?
I think Harrell's gonna come off the bench and then probably
behind AD.
Yeah, no. Harrell's gonna come off the bench behind Drummond. Drummond's gonna play 5, and then.
So what about Gasol?
Gasol will probably come off reserve
minutes
and probably play the 4 off the bench.
Yeah, he's trash.
Because he's had 0 to none offensive impact for the Lakers.
I'm glad it was Drummond and not Lowry. If you want to segue into that.
Oh yeah. Well, I was. We could talk about that, but I was actually about to go on a rant. But we could do the Lowry. Okay. I feel bad for Lowry. The Raptors are a train wreck this year, but to be honest, it's not completely their fault.
I mean,
they're playing in Tampa.
They did trade Norman Powell to the Trailblazers for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood.
I know, and Pascal Siakam is overrated.
Siakam has fallen. The only 2 players on that team right now who are only 3 players, maybe 4, who are respectable or better right now. Lowry, Van Vliet, Boucher, and OG.
They're all trash can.
Van Vliet's been nice this year. Boucher with his slingshot 3 form. He's decent at shooting. And then when they've had OG, they've been doing well.
Here's my rant. People need to stop going crazy over LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin going to the Nets. They will help the team, but it's not that big of a deal. People are making this is equivalent to Gary Payton and Karl Malone going to the Lakers in the 2000s. Like two old all-star, like past all-stars from way years past that are way out of their prime, going to a stacked team. This is so equivalent to that. They will help the team, but it's not like, oh my God, like, oh, you didn't let Chris Paul go to the Lakers, but we're gonna let this happen. First off, Chris Paul was
Was young,
like
was
a
young and in his
god.
prime.
Imagine pairing Chris Paul with Kobe Bryant. The thing is, this is different. This was a trade. The commissioner can veto a trade. This is a free agency pickup. They can do whatever they want. But LaMarcus Aldridge is old and slow. Blake Griffin is old and slow. I don't care that he dunked. Just because he dunked once, every NBA player can dunk if you're above.
He's dunked
like,
multiple times, actually.
If I was 6'2", I could probably dunk, honestly. Even if I
I
was
mean,
50.
the man hasn't dunked since 2019 until now.
Because the Pistons are so bad, and he's never open to dunk.
He was
So,
open to dunk. He just didn't want to dunk.
My rant, because he wanted to get traded. My rant is over now about LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin going to the Nets. They will help the team, but not as much as people will say. If this was 2015, this would be the greatest team in history of basketball. But
I
it's
mean,
still a
both
great
of them
team.
will be high impact players off their bench. Maybe
Yeah.
Aldridge will start at the 5. Who knows? But
I could probably outrun LaMarcus Aldridge in a race, honestly. He is so slow.
I'm sorry, but they will definitely help out the Nets with
Yeah.
bench scoring
No.
and probably
Oh, yeah, I'm not
clutch
saying they
scoring.
won't. I'm not saying they won't.
They're
help
gonna come off the
out Nets.
bench, but like most likely, but they may play in crunch time and clutch time, and
Yeah.
from what I've seen of Blake on the Nets so far, he hasn't been bad.
I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to help out the Nets. I'm just saying people are making a massive deal over this, saying like this team is over. It's not even fair anymore.
I mean,
it's a 36-year-old LaMarcus
you gotta
Aldridge.
think of this. You gotta think of it this way: Kevin Durant's probably gonna sit till the playoffs because he knows he doesn't have to play.
Oh yeah, we know. Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna win the title. But I'm not saying. But people are making it sound like this team is the most.
I feel like the Lakers still have a shot. If I'm being honest with
the 2017 Warriors would beat the 2020 Nets.
Debatable.
Or 2021, yeah, like with Curry, Clay, KD, Draymond, and JaVale McGee would beat.
And health, and they weren't selfish.
Would beat Irving, Harden, Durant, Harris, and DeAndre Jordan. I think they would.
So let's go to the next team in LA. We talked to the Lakers a second ago. Rajon Rondo got traded from the Hawks to the Clippers. Will he make an impact for the Clippers?
If he shows up like playoff Rondo does.
You mean playoff Rondo?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I had to.
I have to be honest, like I haven't watched a lot of Rondo since he left the Celtics, obviously.
I mean, he did win a ring last year. He was a big part of that Lakers playoff run.
The last I heard of him,
Rajon Rondo's a beast.
the last I heard of him though before this trade was that he got like a misdemeanor for him and his wife or whatever attacked someone. Yeah, and he was going to court for it. So that was the last I heard of Rondo, but I guess he still got something. I know analysts are like saying that Rondo is, I guess, a better fit for the Clippers than Lou Williams was, even though Lou Williams fit them really well. But they needed more of a floor general than a slasher.
So Orlando has literally deconstructed their entire team. They traded Vucevic.
Yeah.
They
R.I.P.
traded
Terrence Ross.
Aminu. They traded Evan Fournier. They traded Aaron Gordon.
It's oh my God.
Like what's wrong in Magic Town?
Yeah,
Good.
Orlando's terrible. Well, first off, I just want to show off the greatest Celtic in history behind me, Luke Cornett.
No, we all know the greatest Celtic of all time is either Rajon Rondo or Brian Scalabrine. But continue.
Luke Cornett. He hit
Brian
2 threes against the Thunder the other night. I think he will be the greatest Celtic.
Brian Scalabrine.
Luke Cornett's
Brian
will be on the rafters one day. Okay,
Brian
now
Scalabrine.
back to the Magic. The Magic, they have a lot of picks. They don't have a lot of talent at the moment. So now it's going to be, who do you think is worse, the Magic or the Rockets?
No, it's okay.
The Rockets are not bad. It's just that they were injured.
No, but
Yeah, I guess.
They literally had the top ranked defense before Christian Wood got hurt.
If you're
And
gonna
they
have a
lost
7-game
20 in a
series,
row.
a 7-game series between the Timberwolves and the Magic.
The
Who's
Timberwolves
winning
are
that?
winning. They have Towns.
Yeah, but they're so bad.
Yeah, except they're
Towns
still
is
going to win
overrated.
that. They have so much talent on that team. It's just surprising that they're bad.
I feel like the Magic are getting like their team's getting blown way out of proportion about how bad it is. You look at next year, if they can get healthy, they're going to be in a good spot to like prove to people that they actually have a lot of good young talent. You got Cole Anthony, Marco Fultz. Now you have Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter Jr. Like that's like a solid four to build your team off of, like to just a starting place. So I don't think they're in that bad of a rut.
I guess.
So let's talking about young teams. The Thunder, Al Horford not going to play for the rest of the season. They're going
Really?
younger. How will this pan
Rip.
out?
Are they just benching him?
He will kind of. He's agreed to a buyout at the end of the season,
Oh wow,
but he's
it's going to be a
not
lot of
now.
money.
He's staying on contract.
Wow, I didn't
So
know.
he's just not going to play the rest of the season.
Dang, that sucks. But you know what? He's not very good anymore.
I mean, who was that guy that they had a 2020 game?
Oh, Moses Brown. He was actually nasty in high school, so you never know. Maybe he's gonna be good one day. I mean, Robert. He was matched up against Taco Fall the majority of the game, so Taco Fall is one slow man. But
So
Taco Fall, if with a jump shot, would be overpowered.
You
Can
know,
you imagine that?
the man hit it very deep too.
Ben Simmons with a jump shot would be so good.
I mean, Ben Simmons, if he actually pulled,
Yeah, but do you have him?
pulled
Do you
anything,
have
would
him?
be
Like,
good.
is this dude on your team?
Google Fournier.
Stop. All right, so let's see what else is more in basketball.
So the Philadelphia 76ers traded Austin Rivers and Tony Bradley for George Hill and Ignas whatever.
Bradakais.
Yeah, him.
Bradakais. No. So the trade was they didn't trade Austin Rivers. It was a three-way deal. So
yeah.
So New York traded Austin Rivers as their main piece of the deal and some picks, and the Sixers traded Tony Bradley, Vincent Poirier, and Terrence Ferguson. The reason they had to make it three-way is because you can't send the Sixers in the offseason traded right for Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson and Vincent Poirier. You can't send teams the players you traded for back to that team they got traded from. So they had to include the Knicks in the trade. So
Is this their first big trade since Butler?
Sixers, well, Tobias.
Oh yeah.
And since the Al Horford trade. That was the biggest.
Well, yeah. I mean, Butler with the Heat. I mean, if you're looking at the Heat right now, the Heat made two big acquisitions actually over the trade deadline. They got Victor Oladipo.
Daniel, let me finish about George Hill.
That's enough of a Philly talk for us
George
right
Hill
now. Sorry.
is
let me
bad.
talk great of a player George Hill is.
You'll have your Philly talk when we reach the NFL. Don't worry.
The Heat got Oladipo and Nemanja Bjelica, and he's a really good shooter.
I feel like Oladipo will work well with the Heat. He's gonna open up. He's gonna open up Robinson. He's gonna open up Hero.
On paper, they got a solid squad. You got
Hero. Butler's willingness to win with Bam's willingness to win will both help out as well. So their top three would be Bam, Butler, and Oladipo in any order possible. You have a guard forward and a ball handling forward, basically.
Yeah, we should see Oladipo's debut tonight.
I feel like Oladipo is the perfect fit for that team.
However,
it's going to decrease the minutes for Kendrick Nunn, for Hero, for Robinson, but they're going to do well.
Wait, who's their starting point guard?
They've lost 6 games in a row.
Oh, Dragic. Ew.
The Miami Heat have lost 6 games in a row. They're currently 4-6 in their last 6.
I'm surprised
had-
Aldridge went to the Nets instead of the Heat.
Because
Yeah.
he wants the ring.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, no.
They should. Tonight's game should be good for the Knicks. It's gonna be Heat versus Knicks tonight.
Is Randall still out or is he playing?
No, he's playing. Well, obviously, I'm not gonna be watching any games tonight. We got some
How about-
Elite Eight action.
How about the Knicks though? Good for them.
Yeah,
They got
24 and
Rose back
22.
as well. The
Yeah.
Knicks have been doing very well.
Yeah, they've won 3 in a row. They've had quality wins. They recently beat the Bucks. They beat the Wizards. Quality wins. They played against the Heat. They got the Heat, the Timberwolves, and then the Mavericks.
Actually, wait. Well, that Bucks game wasn't half the Bucks starting roster out with Bobby Portis also out.
Maybe.
Oh no, not Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis, the GOAT. What do you mean? The man literally is shooting, was shooting 50-50, and I think he's shooting 50-40 now.
I mean, if you look at this squad, I mean, they're pretty good at home. They're not so great on the road. They're not very good against the division. I mean, they're a very interesting team. They beat bad teams and they lose to good teams. So I don't think they're a threat to anyone, even if they make it to the playoffs.
Who?
If you, the
Knicks.
Knicks.
The Knicks. No, the Knicks will be a threat in the playoffs.
No, look. If
With
you
the
look
way
at their-
Randall's playing right now, with
They win it too.
with,
They might steal a
with
series.
Derrick Rose's ferocity, they're gonna be good in the playoffs.
No, if you look at their schedule, they lose to good teams and they beat bad teams. They're so average.
The reason
still
the
good.
Knicks won against the Bucks is because Thanasis was the Bucks' leading scorer.
Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
I mean,
Well,
the
if you
man-
want complete average,
the man shot 8 for 15, 3 for 5 from the line for 23 points.
I mean, the most average team in the NBA is the Boston Celtics. They're ranked 15th in the NBA. So they're right in the middle of the pack. They're 23 and 23, but 2 wins in a row for them right after the trade deadline. We got the Pelicans tonight.
Let me just remind you who didn't play for the Bucks against the Knicks. Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, DiVincenzo, Portis, etc.
Jeez. That's tough.
And they only lost by 6.
Yeah, Knicks are just like, you know.
I mean, the Knicks did not have Frank Ntilikina playing. They didn't have Julius Randle playing. It was the first game back for Derrick Rose, I'm pretty sure, or second game.
You know who I like next year if when everybody's like healthy?
Who?
The Pacers. I like who they have now.
The
With,
Pacers will be interesting next year.
Brogdon, LeVert, Warren, Sabonis, and Turner. It's stupid because they can never land a star because they're in the Indiana Pacers. Like, does anyone actually want to play for them?
I don't think so because they're Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, like it's kind of dumb that's how it works, but I like their core.
I feel like this is the perfect transition to start talking about the NFL because the Pacers to the NFL, perfect transition, best transition ever.
We're gonna talk about
That's a good transition. Well, the one thing that we miss in the NFL was some little signings and re-signings.
Oh yeah, let's go through all the Patriots signings. Cam Newton, a 1 year, $5 million
No, we already talked
up
about
to
that.
14 mil, 3.5 million guaranteed. Jonnu Smith, 4 year, $50 million, 31.3 million guaranteed. David Gottschall, 2 years, $15 million, 9 mil guaranteed. Matthew Judon, 4 years, $54.5 million, 32 million guaranteed. Jalen Mills, 4 years, $24 million, 9 million guaranteed. Nelson Aguilar, 2 years, $22 million, up to $26 million, 16 million guaranteed.
Stop.
Kendrick
I
Bourne,
know,
3
that was
years,
overpaid.
$15 million, 5.25 million guaranteed. Henry Anderson, 2 years, $7 million, up to $11 million, 3 million guaranteed. Dietrich Wise Jr., 4 years, $22 million, 10 million guaranteed. Hunter Henry, 3 years, $37.5 million, 25 million guaranteed. Ted Karras, 1 year, $3 million, 3 million guaranteed. Kyle Van Noy, 2 years, up to $13 million. The guaranteed has not been out yet. David Andrews, 4 years, $19.5 million, 6.5 million guaranteed. James Hurst, yeah, that's for the Saints. Who else? James White re-signed. Who else? They traded for Trent Brown.
All right, so
That's
I'll
fine.
give the Patriots free agency a B. It's not as good as everyone says it is. It's a great. I like the pickups itself. I like them, but what we paid for some of them, a little bit sus.
I mean, what I've been telling everybody who have talked about free agency, who's been complaining about the amount of money Bill's paying. I get it, the cap went down. The Patriots had room. They probably overspent on a lot of these players, but whenever you pay somebody, you don't pay them for what they've done. You pay them
I mean,
for
yeah,
what they're gonna do.
I
And I
know,
feel
but
like Bill has very high hopes for a lot of these guys who he thinks they will do very well with the style of play that he wants to run with Cam Newton.
I know, but we could have paid the same money for Corey Davis, like we could have paid the same money for Will Fuller. I mean, I didn't want Galladay because I don't think he
Galladay
would have
didn't want
fit
to
in our
come here.
system. He wouldn't have fit in our system.
He
I don't.
wouldn't even want to. He didn't even want to come here. Like Stafford didn't want to come here because who's his face is back in the building.
Oh, Patricia.
Patricia's back. Yeah.
But the issue with having a wide receiver one on your team, like a lot of times, wide receiver ones are just absolute divas.
I mean,
Most of the
Aguilar is more of a wide receiver 2A.
Yeah, we don't have any wide receiver ones on it. Like if you look at the Super Bowl, there was no Tyreek Hill was like I guess their wide receiver one, but like they didn't use him as like a wide receiver one. They used him just as like a utility guy. On the Bucks, there was no real wide receiver one. There was Godwin, there was Evans. But if you look at like the other teams that didn't make the Super Bowl, like the Saints with like Michael Thomas, diva. You got Hopkins, who's kind of a diva. You got Juju, who's kind of a diva. Odell Beckham's a diva. I like Odell, but all these guys are just like, you know what I mean? Like they cause so much attention, and all they want is the ball and this and that. But you have like if you have a bunch of wide receiver twos on your team, or even a bunch of like wide receiver 1As, then that's where or 1Bs. That's where you're gonna get good.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these signings are for scheme fit because what did the Patriots do abnormally well last year?
Run ball.
What ranked rushing offense did we have last year? 2 or 3?
I don't know.
Cam Newton. What was Cam Newton good at last year? Because recently getting off of shoulder surgery and missing a lot of throws.
Running
the ball. What did we pick up what did the Patriots pick up in the offseason?
They get
2 tight ends.
tight end, yeah.
Who both can block. This is gonna be a run first play action team.
Yeah.
They got Aguilar in there for the speed going deep. They got Bourne, who's in my opinion just a very quick, shifty Edelman. Edelman's probably going to come back a little more healthy. Jacoby Myers is still there. Probably going to trade away. Who's his face?
Renat Gilmore?
No, the receiver we drafted first round over DK.
Oh, N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry. We're probably going to trade him away. A lot of teams want him.
Yeah, because we don't use him properly.
What in the past? What has Cam done the best?
Run the ball.
Create plays with his legs.
What else?
Get the ball out quickly. Energy.
I was looking more towards utilizing his tight ends a lot.
Who has he had? Greg Olsen.
Jeremy Shockey. Who else?
Yeah.
There was who was the number 2 tight end in Carolina with Greg Olsen, because he was also decent with them. Well, Greg Olsen, Cam Newton's MVP season. Olsen was their 1,000-yard receiver at the tight end position. Now
2 of them.
The Patriots had nobody tight. We spent 2 third-rounders on tight ends, and they both didn't pan out. We don't have time to develop them right now. So Belichick's like, I made mistakes in the draft. Here, I have a bunch of money now. Come over here, I'll pay you. And I will utilize you because Cam Newton likes using his tight ends. So what does he do? He spends a lot of money on 2 tight ends. I feel like the Patriots had a solid B plus A minus offseason so far.
Right on the topic of mobile quarterbacks that utilize their tight ends and crappy wide receivers that have no talent or are used the wrong way. Hi, I'm an Eagles fan.
Oh yeah, of course. Jalen Hurts, of course. I hear you guys don't want him. Kind of.
I think it's a smokescreen, definitely, because you look at like why would they tell a team that what like the Eagles just proved to everyone why they are putting this stuff out because they moved back, and I would say there's a really good chance they move back again if a team thinks they could possibly take a quarterback in front of them. So I personally think they did it on purpose. I think they're going to roll with Jalen Hurts. Jeffrey Lurie wants to put weapons around him, and I think that's what they're going to do. So, but did you guys see the report that apparently the Eagles wanted to move back because they got insight that the Bengals are really considering taking Jamar Chase if he's there at 5.
I haven't read that.
I don't understand.
That seems
We need to
plausible.
protect Burrow.
Yeah,
Hey.
Burrow's gonna die out there.
Well, then but like you get the best player available, and then you draft for needs. So I could definitely see them going Chase to finish that tandem of Higgins, Chase, and Boyd. That'd be filthy, and then getting a offensive lineman in the second round. That you can find really good offensive linemen in the second round.
Well, as of 40 minutes ago, a report has come out that Stephon Gilmore, the Patriots' elite cornerback, former Defensive Player of the Year with the Patriots 2 years ago, who was injured with injuries and COVID mostly last season, has been very open to a contract extension with New England that would help lower the cap situation hit as well. So I like both your opinions on it as a Patriots fan and, of course, as a awful Eagles fan. What's your opinion on Gilmore potentially being extended by Bill instead of trading him?
I like it. I wouldn't have been opposed to trading him either, but I like it either. It was a win-win because the rumors had it if he was traded, he'd be traded for like a big time wide receiver, and if not, he'll resign. And I like him. I mean, we have a lot of depth at the cornerback position, but I mean, having a cornerback one is always important. So get him, J.C. Jackson.
Well,
Jonathan Jones.
Except J.C. Jackson maybe going to walk next year. Who knows? He may not resign.
Well, hopefully we gotta keep him because, well, I know he had a lot of picks this year. He's not actually like clamps. A lot of his picks came in zone coverages. It's not like Gilmore was just clamping up. Like 2019, Gilmore was just clamping up receivers and getting picks. J.C. Jackson was getting picks. Obviously, he was good, but it wasn't a lot in man-to-man coverages. But he's still a solid receiver.
Zone, yeah, but like he was good in coverage though.
Oh yeah,
teams were afraid to throw at him because of his interception totals.
I think people pay attention to interceptions so much that they overlook good cornerbacks. Like Stephon Gilmore still had a good year last year. Like people disregarded that he was actually pretty good. He was no 2019 Gilmore, but like everyone was looking at Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard of how amazing they were. But no one was talking about Jair Alexander. Like he was putting up record numbers of coverages, like who caught like missed targets or missed catches or broken tackle or stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of extending him for you guys. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. He's a talent that comes very rarely in the NFL, and like if it was a different situation, you guys were kind of like going through a rebuild. I think you're more going through like a retool. So I would extend him, but if it was more like you're trying to get rid of your expensive players, you guys went all in on free. Like you spent more money in almost as much. You spent half the amount of money that Bill Belichick has spent in 10 years in 1 year. He spent $200 million.
Well, I mean, the Patriots had the third most cap room, and the cap went down. Teams didn't have cap.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of the high-end teams from the past year really only made 1 to 3 moves because they had to cut a lot of players to get under the cap.
Yeah,
But this just in from the Associated Press, Andrew Groover, as of 30 minutes ago. Bill Belichick is expected to appear at Miami's Pro Day, and Miami's two highest ranked players are both edge rushers, which are Gregory Rousseau and I'm going to butcher this because I'm horrible with names. Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips.
Who does Kwity Paye play for?
Who?
Kwity Paye, the edge rusher. I thought he was on the. On Miami.
How do you spell it?
Kwity. His first name, and then.
Oh, P. He plays for Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Okay.
There's another place where Belichick likes to draft people. Of
I
course,
think he's right around. He's right around.
Belichick drafted Brady from Michigan, and he's also drafted Chase Winovich from Michigan.
Yep.
But Belichick does love Miami and Miami's players.
All right, let's move on to some March Madness out here. That's what I want to talk about. Some good old March Madness. Okay, I'll begin.
Before we do that, though, do we want to speak on anything more on the draft, like how we think it's?
Oh yeah. Well, first off, do not ever look at CBS Sports' mock drafts. They are some of the worst mock drafts I've look at this. CBS Sports mock draft. Let me find one. Who is this dude? His name's like Ryan Wilson. Yeah, Brian Wilson. He's one of the worst beat reporters in history. This dude has.
I don't know how he has a job.
He has Mac Jones going third to the Niners. Then.
I could see that actually.
No, he has. This is just absurd. There's so many things. Well, actually, no. This one's not that bad. The latest mock draft, if we go on NFL.com. Wait, what? Why is this a second round mock draft? What? Yeah.
There's supposed to be a second round mock draft.
Let me find. WalterFootball.com has the best mock draft. So you have Trevor Lawrence going 1. You have Zach Wilson going 2. Trey Lance going 3 to the Niners. So the issue with this, I don't understand why the Niners would take someone like that.
If Wilson goes 2, I honestly think it's a toss up between any one of those 3 guys. Jones, Lance, and what's his name?
I mean, I guess the Niners traded up to get a quarterback, but why would they? Garoppolo's good. Garoppolo's not as bad as people say. He has a good record on the Niners, though.
Yeah, because they built a smart system around him. I don't think he's a good quarterback, though.
Garoppolo is a decent. He's competent. He's able to start for teams.
Also injury prone.
But he is injury prone, and he does have his miscues when throwing the ball at times.
Yeah, but he can lead a team down the field with his play action. He's very good with play action.
He's also very smart when it comes to who to throw to most of the time as well.
Yeah, he makes good reads. I wouldn't say he's a talented thrower. I wouldn't say he's an elite thrower at any means, but he makes
he's a worse Tom Brady, for being honest.
Yeah, he just makes smart reads. He's most of the time. He's not going to launch the ball downfield.
80% of the time, he makes smart reads.
I mean, him and Kittle have a great connection, and Kittle's probably, I don't know, the second best tight end in the league.
I'd say I have Kittle over Kelsey for the fact that Kittle blocks better. And I'd
say Kittle. Kelsey has Mahomes, and Mahomes already has all these weapons. So
Kittle also has better blocking and basically the same receiving ability.
It's hard to admit, but Darren Waller, I think, is in the exact same conversation as those two. And Johnny Smith. No, I'm only
Johnny
kidding.
Smith's not in the conversation. No, that's just impossible. No. The man was the top tight end free agency with Hunter Henry, but he's not in the top tight end conversation in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, we love these drafts. It's kind of weird. I don't know where the Patriots will go. I think it's important. I don't know which way. We could either get Trey Lance. I think the only quarterback I'd want is Trey Lance. We could go out and get Trey Lance, or we can go out and get a receiver. Say if Jalen Waddle's still on the board. I'm hoping he is. I don't think he will be though.
I mean, I don't want Belichick to draft a receiver though because he's done horrible developing them.
Yeah, you're right, but N'Keal Harry was not a real route runner out of college. He never has been a route runner. He's a red zone
Neither
threat.
was Metcalf, and look at Metcalf now.
Metcalf still doesn't run routes. He just runs far, and then Russell Wilson's good at being a
Really?
Man
quarterback.
also does run a couple of ins. He's just a bully.
I feel like Parsons could drop to where you guys are.
Yeah, that means our linebacking core would be the greatest in history.
Bro, what's our linebacking core right now? It's Hightower,
Judon,
Uche, Van Noy, Chase Winovich
Bentley.
plays a little bit outside linebacker. Bentley plays inside. That special
they're
teamer we got as
nasty.
well. You also have Kyle Duggar and Phillips sometimes line up as
Bobby
outside
Wagner.
linebackers.
So you guys
Yeah.
have depth in wide receiver and linebacker and cornerback. So really, if I were you guys, I just trade back or get a quarterback.
Yeah, no,
we
they're
need a
gonna draft
receiver.
they're gonna draft the quarterback of the future at 15. Probably I want it to be the Buckeyes guy. I forget his name again.
No.
Yeah.
So the fact that he has a
Do
kind of
not
similar
trust
play style to
Ohio
Cam.
State quarterbacks.
What's his name?
There's never been a good Ohio State quarterback in the
I know,
NFL.
it's
Yeah,
true.
so that could change. Who knows? Like, I feel like the Patriot system right now is more inclined to his style, Cam's style. It could work well.
I mean, yeah, you never know. I mean, Cam is on a 1-year deal, so that could
I
just
feel like
mean
their entire objective of having Cam on a 1-year deal is to have him start for this season, draft a quarterback,
Mentor.
have him sit for one season, then next year have the quarterback take the reins from Cam.
Yeah, you never want to just put a rookie quarterback just like to start him for the first year, unless it's like you truly know he's a beast, or if you have no quarterback.
Unless it's like Dak Prescott once Romo got injured and they just
or like
him over Romo, or like Baker Mayfield.
Like Burrow, there was no other option other than Burrow. There's no one else to play quarterback. Herbert, they could.
Herbert was just
Tyrod
tragic for Tyrod.
Yeah, but Herbert really showed up.
Tua, I was confused by.
Yeah, Tua, I think he should have just sat. They were rushing it. But Herbert and Burrow, Burrow, there's no other option. Herbert, it's like, I think Herbert was going to start at some point that season anyways. I was not expecting Herbert to be that good. Like, he really was electrical.
Have you guys thought of any like mock drafts yet? Like your own?
Not really, but
No.
there is something I want to talk about real quick. Kyle Van Noy's comments on Dolphins head coach
Brian
Flores, former Patriots defensive coordinator and linebacker coach. His comments when asked what's the difference between defensive coordinator / linebacker coach Brian Flores and head coach Brian Flores, Van Noy was simply just said no comment. What do you interpret from this no comment?
Who cares?
I'm gonna interpret it this way.
Patriots.
I think linebacking and linebacker coach Brian and defensive coordinator Brian Flores is like, I'm gonna help the players. Like, I'm all a players guy. This and that.
I mean, do you see him when he rushed Butler onto the field in the 49 and the goal line?
Yeah, but I think head coach Brian Flores, I think he's a good coach. I don't know why when they're saying him, but maybe
I don't think it's hatred. I think it's just like confusion.
Maybe head coach Brian Flores is full of himself. I don't know, but I think he's a good coach. I'm confused. Maybe he was like, maybe linebacker coach Brian Flores and defensive coordinator Brian Flores treated Kyle Van Noy like it was a friend, but maybe head coach Brian Flores treated him like he was his son or something. I don't know. That's the only way I can interpret it from this.
So, March Madness.
Oh, yeah.
That was an interesting game from yesterday or the day before. I forget that overtime game.
Well, we haven't had a podcast since the day before March, or the day of the first day of March Madness, or the day before.
That is true, and there were a lot of upsets.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to go back and watch that podcast and see what our predictions were. Because I don't think anyone. I think the biggest storyline, the three biggest storylines, the four biggest storylines of the March Madness. I'd say number one is obviously Oral Roberts going all the way to the Sweet 16 and almost winning that game behind Max Adnis. I think that's his name.
The next biggest story I'd probably say would be the amount of upsets that were. That was incredible.
Yes, a lot of upsets, upset after upset. Going off of that, we got Oregon State and UCLA, both in the Elite Eight. Like, that's absurd. And everyone was counting out the Pac-12. They were like, oh, Big Ten this, Big Ten that. There's only one Big Ten team, and that's Michigan, obviously. But we got two Pac-12 teams, and both of them are like, who would have thought that Oregon State would be in the Elite Eight versus Houston right now? That was part of my stories. I'd say another big one is Gonzaga. I mean, if they go down to win this, they'd be the first undefeated team to win it since 1976. I think the last time there was an undefeated team that got into the tournament that was like this good was Kentucky when they had AD, I believe, and they lost, I think, in like the Elite Eight or something like that. However, that Kentucky run they had some close games. Gonzaga, every single one seed in this tournament or two seed has had at least a close game, or if it wasn't a close game at the end, it was at least a close game for the majority, like a Baylor game. Gonzaga has just been cruising throughout this entire tournament. They've made these, like, Creighton's a good team. They made them look bad.
Yeah.
Who did they play in the round of 32?
Who?
Gonzaga.
Wisconsin, right?
Oh yeah, they made Wisconsin look bad too. They were a decent Big Ten team. Like, normally you'd see like a 1 versus 8 seed, like the game's gonna be like a 7-8 point game. They killed them. I mean, they have a
Gonzaga played Norfolk State, Oklahoma, and Creighton.
Okay, yeah, Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure beat Baylor during the regular season. Gonzaga
Oklahoma lost by 16.
Yeah, they're the only team in the nation that has a real big three of Jalen Suggs, who's a two-sport athlete. He was a 4.5-star quarterback out of high school. He could have played at like any D1 school. They have Drew Timme, and they got Corey Kispert. I think that's his name. Yeah, Corey Kispert, I think is his name. He has like the headband and the mustache. I love him. But yeah, this team's really fun to watch. They have a real big three. They also have another really good guy, I forget his name, but they probably were the most talented team on paper. Besides, the second most talented team on paper was Illinois, but we all know Illinois lost. So yeah, I think it's got to be Gonzaga, Baylor. Baylor's defense has been ridiculous. Deontay Mitchell, I think that's his name. It's really weird because his last name is Mitchell. He wears number 45. He shoots exactly like the Donovan Mitchell. He plays exactly like Donovan
Mitchell on the court.
It's unless that's his brother. Let me look it up if Deontay Mitchell is Donovan Mitchell's brother, because then I could just be a total idiot.
I don't think he is because Donovan Mitchell was tweeting about it a couple of days ago. Like, one of his teammates was like, or at least another NBA star was like tweeting at him, like, "Are you playing March Madness?" He's like, "No, but that man's a baller," something like that.
Oh, it's Davion Mitchell, not Deontay Mitchell. My bad. Who is Donovan Mitchell's brother?
Let me see if I can find the tweet, actually.
Yeah, they're not brothers, but he wears number 45 to honor Michael Jordan. But the fact that he's D-Mitch, he plays just like him. He shoots exactly like him. Oh, he used to play for the...
Yeah, he does play very much like him, though. But let me see if I can find the tweet. Oh, yeah, no, Damian Lillard tweeted at Donovan Mitchell, "Do you play for Baylor?" And he said he was confused. And then Mitchell retweeted back at him saying he got 2 years of eligibility left.
Yeah, he actually was not. He didn't even start off at Baylor. He went to Auburn.
He transferred?
Yeah, he transferred to Auburn. He also was he was considering going to Florida, but he didn't. He was 59th in the nation. Yeah, he was yeah, he was ranked higher than some interesting players like Isaiah Washington. That's about it. It's like big from here, but yeah, that's really interesting. I'd say what was the? I had another storyline backed up in this, John. All these freshmen have been playing ridiculous too. I mean, Evan Mobley on USC, Jalen Suggs on Gonzaga, what's his name? Cade Cunningham. He didn't play well. He choked. Cade Cunningham choked. He was not good. I thought he was gonna be nasty. Greg Brown also choked, but who knows?
So I think that's all the time we have for today, folks. Do either of you have any closing statements you want to make before we end this off?
Let me think of a closing statement. Jalen Hurts is a bona fide scrub. That's my closing statement.
Okay, Stephen A.
He's a bona fide scrub.
Hey, don't be surprised when Eagles finish first.
Oh yeah, one more. The two worst MLB teams in the league at the moment are the Cleveland Indians and the Philadelphia Phillies. We're out. And Evan Fournier is the GOAT right up here. If you're looking at Evan
I'm sorry,
Fournier.
everybody knows the GOAT is the man whose jersey is right next to me, Rajon Rondo. And
Wait, are we done with this or no?
and we're done.